Good evening, everyone, and namaste to each and everyone who is joining on this webinar. This family healing webinar is from Natural Healing Trends, and my name is Ajiv Aluwalia, and my co-host is Ann Vickers. She's based out of Cleveland, Ohio. We welcome each and every one of you, those who are participating in this first family webinar, healing webinar. Now, this webinar will last approximately 40-45 minutes, in which I'm going to talk about it, how the families can take advantage of the healing modalities in helping their autistic child to improve upon, which will significantly improve the health of the entire family. Now, I believe everybody, you can hear me loud and clear. At the bottom, you'll see a Q&A box. Please type yes into that if there is any challenge so far as the audio is concerned. Okay, is there anybody else? At the bottom of the screen, you'll see Q&A. Just type yes if you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, very good. Okay, guys, the purpose of this webinar is to let the families of the autistic children know that they have a very big ray of hope. They definitely can improve upon their life. They can improve upon their relationships. They can improve upon what they feel like in their life. And definitely this energy healing works towards their betterment and for their fulfillment of their life. Now, one thing I would like to definitely tell each and every one of you, that's that autism starts basically when the child is in the womb. Remember that it is actually a developmental brain disorder. Autism is not a disease, actually. Now, this happens when the child is developing in the womb. Now, remember one thing, that the medical research says in the last 50 years, they've been trying to find out the ways or the cause of the autism, but they have not been able to pinpoint anything very specific. However, they have a certain reservation that it could be the vernal disease or viral infection or a kind of a shock and trauma if his mom has gone through, that the child become autistic. In the medical terminology, they say that they have to be constantly under observation, and they have to be, they are very much dependent on others for the rest of their life, till the time they have seen a significant improvement also. Now, if you see the pattern in the America, the East Coast, in the Boston and the New York area, as well as in the West, the state of Utah, I believe, you'll see a lot of autistic kids. There could be many reasons for that in these areas, because these areas may be highly industrialized, and that's why the pollutants were acting as one of the conduit for the autism also. Now, autism normally starts at a very early age. Maybe somewhere around from age 2 to 3, people will start seeing a very visible sign of autism in the child. Different signs, if you have an autistic kid, you know it, that these are very visible signs, which the doctors definitely say that they will not, if you have a kid which is a severe autistic, you will not make an eye contact, or he will avoid you to make an eye contact with you. He will sit lonely. He will go into his own thoughts, and it will take very long time for him to come out of that part. Sometime when he's playing with any kind of an object, then he'll go so much into detail of that he will get stuck right over there. One of the things which you will also see in the child is that they have a difficulty in communicating, in understanding, in verbal communication. They feel that they are likely trapped in something. That's why they cannot speak very, very fluently. Now, one thing which I would like to definitely cover is that how the autism is how the energy healing can help the child, autistic child, its mom, as well as father. Remember one thing, we are all made of energy, one universal energy. Now, everything in the human life and in this universe is made of energy only. So if you see from the quantum physics and from the quantum mechanics point of view, then the healing to the autistic child, is it possible? Yes, very much it is possible. To what extent? It all depends how the person is receiving the healing. I'll give you one example, how the healing works on that part. Autistic children have a lot of problems with their nervous system. It is just like that in the brain, when the synapses are so close to each other, then they send signal. But if they go a little bit detached, then it is difficult for the person to receive the signals from each other so that they can respond back to whatever questions are being asked or whatever action they need to take that way. There is a statistics also that the boys have a more tendency to go autistic as compared to girls. If there are 5 children who are autistic, so 4 will be boys and 1 will be girl. I'm giving a little bit of a data right now so that you understand why this happened. But sometimes a child, especially the boys, when a male child is there in the womb, from the energetic point of view, it is said that he is very sensitive to the environment. They are so vulnerable that they absorb everything what is going around in the mom's life, whether it is a relationship issue, whether it is a stress issue, highly strenuous relationship between the mom and the dad, or between the mom, dad, and the child, the growing child. Now, the child's energies are so sensitive that they pick up everything which is happening around them. One thing which I have noticed in my practice is they also notice if they are being loved when they're growing inside. If they feel at any moment, at any point of time, some kind of a hatred is there, some kind of an anger is there, some kind of a rejection is there, some kind of a regrets are there, then it affects their development in a very significant way. One thing they will also notice that the people, those who have a severe autistic children, let's take on a scale of 0 to 10, it is coming up between 7 and 9. Those children, majority of them have a lot of disabilities so far as the communication is concerned, so far as understanding is concerned, and so far as expressing themselves is concerned. In the medical side, the only remedy they have is that they will assign a child psychologist and certain medications are given to them, which is all fine. And I agree to that because that is what they need it right now. But there is something which you can definitely do by going beyond the calling of a medical line and going into the holistic healing. And that's how we come into the picture. Now, from the intuitive remedy or the intuitive healing point of view, autism is of 2 types. Number 1 is the severe autism. Number 2 is the autism which is caused by the heavy metals. Now let's take first the severe autism, how it is affecting it, and from the energetic point of view. Let's say the child is developing inside the womb and the child develops some kind of a fear because mom is feeling a kind of a trauma or a fear or a kind of an anger she has towards the relationship. That is the time that kind of a fear gets transferred to the child. And he becomes so fearful that inside a kind of an energy ball, he tried to flee from there. And that is why when he takes birth, you will see they are in a flight and a fight mode right there only. Energy healings helps them, especially theta healing, helps them to go back into their space and they feel connected, grounded, and that they belong to the community at that point of time. The second kind of an autism is autism caused by the heavy metals like mercury. Now, as you are very well aware of it, that vaccinations are given to every child. Vaccinations, a stabilizing agent is also either mercury or aluminum. Or But the food which I'm taking, let's take an example. There are certain areas in the United States which are very, very polluted environmental wise. The environmental pollution also plays a very big role in autistic child's life, because mercury is one component when it goes inside the bloodstream, either through vaccination or through food or through when mom is nursing the baby that time. Maybe the mom has lived her majority of her life in a place which has got a more toxicity, and that is basically being fed through the mother's milk to the baby. The baby is so vulnerable to that. The nervous system is so delicate that automatically it's get affected. Now, one of the easiest way to get rid of this thing is that giving child apple juice, fresh squeezed apple juice at home. If it is of organic apple, that will be wonderful, because it will throw out a lot of toxins from the body and will help them to normalize, especially their nervous system. But how the energy healing will help the child? As I was mentioning, that when we do the energy healing, we are doing it from two different angles. Number one is how severe the child is autistic. If the child is from a scale of 7 to 10, from a scale of 0 to 10, it is 7 or 9 in the autism. That time, we basically do the theta healing on them. Now, theta healing is a meditation technique in which we go into the space of child, the energy space of that, and then do the healing. Remember, energy travels without time and space. So geographical location doesn't matter. I may be right now at Portland, but I can also do work on any child or any mom or any dad who are in the other part of the world. Because energy works whether you are in present or you go remotely through their permission into the energy space. It works exactly the same way, because as energy travels without time and space, so the physical presence may not be required. Those who are based out of Portland, all the people, those who are attending here, definitely I will be seeing them in person when we start this program. But those who are long distance, we can still do the healings on them remotely as well as through Skype and through phone, and it will work exactly the same way, the way it works with the people when you are in person. Now, how the energy works, I wanted to highlight on this part because this is something very important aspect all the participants need to know. Remember, I was telling you that when the child is developing, child's energies are very sensitive. They listen to everything what is going around you. They also know their surroundings very well. If you scan the body energetically of any person who's carrying a baby, you will come to know how the child is growing. One of the aspects we release through theta healing is by going into another space is the feeling of hatred, feeling of anger, feeling of regret, feeling of rejection, feeling of resentment, feeling of grudges. All these things are released by going into this space and releasing them at this mind from the creator's energy. Now, a lot of people have asked me one question also, Rajiv, how do you tap into the creator's energy? When we go into the theta brainwave, people say that it is a God's brainwave. When you are in that brainwave and you are in the field of somebody else, with their permission, one by one, you start releasing these negative emotions and the subconscious blocks. Once these negative emotions and the subconscious blocks are released and they're reprogrammed to the positive subconscious mind and the beliefs, you will see a big energy shift happening in people's life. Their relationship suddenly improves when the hatred is released. When the resentment and the regrets are released, a lot of their organ functions improve. Remember one thing, that anger is majority of the time, those people, those who are very angry, you will see their stomach will remain very upset. Reason, anger stores in the intestine or in the liver. So their metabolism also slows down when people stay in an anger mode a lot. Now, if you are not even in the anger mode, but you have an old anger stored within you, let's take since the childhood has been very abusive. It could not be a physical abuse, it could be emotional abuse. It could be mental abuse. It could be sometimes an abuse which the child was not knowing it, but they faced it. So what happens? It shuts them down from inside. So when the lady is having a baby that time, or in the process of having a baby when she's pregnant, if the same feelings emanated from her subconscious mind because of the fear, what she experienced during her childhood, and if that fear triggers, automatically starts affecting the kid also, which is developing in the womb. One of the aspects what we work with is also in theta healing, it is known as working with the fetal memory. Now, this is only possible in theta healing, because when you go into the energy space, the people, those who are severely autistic, especially the kid, not necessarily the kid has to be between 3 and 14 years old. The kid can be an adult, it could be 21 years old. We can still do healing on them very easily. If the kid is an adult, we take permission from them. Let's take the kid is non-verbal. In that case, we take this permission from their higher self, which is above their head, and then we do the healing on them. If the child has a problem of, they have a severity from 2 to 7 or 2 to 6, which means that they have a lot of toxins in their body. So when you do the healings on them, and basically you ask the universe to release the toxins slowly and gradually, and they come on a very special diet, which is organic, and they remove all the wheat products, because sometimes the wheat is one thing which it has a gluten in that, so it affects them, and these things get attached to it very easily. Sometimes the kid may be having more of a candida in their stomach, and if there is a more candida in that, it won't let them heal easily. So we recommend certain supplements. That way, it'll help them to release all these toxins. You come on the diet giving a child more of apple juice, freshly squeezed organic apple juice at home. That helps him to release the toxins from his body. Now, that will improve him significantly. But when you start doing this particular treatment along with the healings, and that is the biggest jump basically in the healing which they get out of that. One thing you will also notice, we do healings in 2 ways. Number one is the theta healing, which I mentioned. The second one is the divine rejuvenation. Now, divine rejuvenation is a technique in which we use the healing crystals, and then it is sent remotely to the participant, those who are there. Remember one thing, when we are doing the healings, we ensure that the person is sitting straight without crossing their legs, and their hands are not like this. They are not folding it like this, because this crosses the energy and it won't let them. I'll just show you. We are not sitting up like this. We let them basically put the hands on the side and feet on the ground. If we are doing a remote healing, which is in which I just need a permission yes from them, in that case, I'll ask them to lie down on the bed, very well hydrated, had lots of water, keep a water next to them, and what happens is that time the flow of energy happens very, very easily, and it starts healing them from inside. Remember, when the remote healings are being done through divine rejuvenation, a lot of subconscious beliefs, subconscious regression, subconscious aggression, oppression, everything starts releasing from the body, and the new positive energy comes into them. One question, which I'm seeing it right now on the screen, I'll just answer it in a minute. When we are doing the theta healing session, in that case, what we will be doing is that we will go into your energy space. If you are in person, that time, we will be seeing what all beliefs you are carrying it, which is obstructing you and your child's relationship. Sometimes moms are in so much of a fear, they are in so much of awe of their child, that they don't let the child to heal easily. I'll give you one example. I have a mom who's so much attached to his only child that when I asked her one simple question, I said, what will you do if your child becomes absolutely independent and completely healed? And she had no answer. I said, then why you are so dependent on your child? She said, Rajiv, I don't know. Then I had to release that kind of an attachment of hers and let the child develop. The moment it was done, I saw significant changes happening in the child's behavior. he started improving dramatically. One of the challenges the child was facing in this particular case when we were doing the healings on them, both mom as well as on the child and the dad, is that the relationship between the mom and the child and the dad, and the child and the mom and the dad, they improve significantly. We always encourage people in a family way that if both mom, dad, and the child are together, then they participate as a family. Remember one thing: child's DNA is connected through mom as well as dad. Child's energy is very sensitive, and because child stays with mom almost 18 hours a day, when from the time they are taking birth till the time they are 14 and 15, that length and the duration which they stay with the mom's energy field, everything they sense about the mom. And if mom is fearful, you will see the child will become fearful. If the fears of moms are gone, the child's fear will also go away. So we help moms to basically come on a platform in which her subconscious beliefs are released, reprogrammed to the positive one. If she has a lot of emotional shock and trauma, that is released in theta healing. That helps her to normalize her relationship with her own self. And suddenly you will see the DNA start affecting the child. The relationship with the child improves significantly. One of the things which I have also noticed in my healing sessions is that sometimes you will see that the mom has to be healed first. I always encourage that we start with the moms and then we go to the kid and then we go to the dad. The reason is very simple. Because mom is first, where she has to carry baby in her womb almost for 9 months. Imagine the kind of the bonding which she needs to have it. And if she doesn't have it with her own child, how it affects the child very badly. So if there is a lot of anger because of the relationship issue she's experiencing during her pregnancy, it will affect the child a lot. If there is a lot of hatred towards anybody for that matter, it will affect the child. If she has a lot of resentment during the pregnancy, it will start affecting the child. If she has a lot of regrets in her life, it will affect definitely the child. I've seen that sometimes people carry the guilt also within them. That guilt basically affects their gallbladder as well as the kidney stones, because it starts basically calcification over there. And you will see that people develop kidney stones very easily, or the gallbladder stones, or bladder stones that way. Sometimes if people have two autistic kids and they want help, definitely we are there to help them, but we will work with individual kids. Let's say we are working with mom first, then the first kid, and then the second kid, and then the dad. That's how it'll go away. If the mom and dad are critical, or any of them is critical about the healing, it's perfectly fine. Even if dad is fine with the healing and the child wants healing, we can still work with them. If the dad is critical, mom and child wants to work, we can still work with them. One question which I'm seeing right now on my screen is somebody's asking is, what karma of parents leads to autistic child getting born? Now, this is something is a very unique kind of a question. Whenever an autistic child comes into the world, remember, a lot of autistic children are brilliant kids. I have an experience of healing a few kids, and one of them is on the East Coast. And I remember the mom at the age of 13, she lost her parents, and after that, she was in a relationship with many people. Then at the age of 18, she conceived this child, and the father left mom, the father of the child. And the mom, in a fit of rage, drove the car, met with an accident, had almost a fatal accident. And she was in the hospital for almost a month. And then she was told that she's pregnant. Now, in that case, what happens? They could not even abort the child because it was at that critical stage. So the child grew up in the mom's womb, and she had a premature delivery at the age, I think, 7 months of pregnancy only. The child survived, but he was a severely autistic child. So when we were doing healings on the mom, that time she asked, is it possible for you to heal my son also? I said, sure, why not? So when we started doing work on the son, one thing happened. which was very surprising, was he started recovering very, very fast. And the doctors were surprised that he can heal that fast or he's recovering very fast. And after 5 or 6 healings, it was amazing. This child improved almost 60 to 70%. And then suddenly one day he asked a question that I don't want any healing. I said, why? He said, my mom will go back to her old ways, what she was before I was born. So sometimes the autistic children comes a kind of as a protection for their parents also. Remember one thing, every child needs love and unconditional love. Every individual on the planet needs unconditional love, and unconditional love from the Creator only. So when we work in the healing, when we do the theta healing, we send a lot of unconditional love to the child also, and he feels that he belongs to this world. He feels he's a part of this world. He starts feeling that he's connected to the world. And that is one thing which every child and the mom is needing right now. One thing I will also tell you that, is it possible to go into the child's energy knowing whether he wants healing or not? Absolutely. Sometimes the question is asked by the mom is, Rajiv, if the child only needs healing, how do we come to know? I say, it's very easy. When I take the permission from you, I can go in the child's space and ask the child, do you still need healing? Remember, up till now, with whatever autistic child I have worked with, they all needed healing, a normal and a healthy life. And some of these kids have become brilliant kids, not only in their studies, but the way they're developing right now. This is brilliant to see them, the way they have recovered. They needed only 3 to 4 sessions, and I saw a complete transformation happening in their lives that way. Now, if the child is nonverbal, how do we do that part? If the child is nonverbal, then it means he is a severe autistic kid. In that case, also, we work through the child higher self, or through mom, or through dad. It could be anybody for that matter. Let's take the child wants healing, mom wants healing, but the dad doesn't want it. Will it work? Absolutely. If it is only the mom, it doesn't want healing because she's critical of that part, but the dad and the child wants healing. Is it possible? Absolutely. If both mom and dad doesn't want healing, but the child want healing and they want, please help us to help the child. Is it possible? Absolutely, I must say. You see, healing is an energy which comes from the Creator. And the energy does not require any time and space in the quantum physics and quantum mechanics to reach the child. Even if the child is not there with me, as a hypothetical example, even if the child is not there with me, as a hypothetical example, and mom is there with me for sessions, I can still do healings on the child, sitting in my healing center and working on the mom, and that time I'm also working on the child at the same time. That way. Some people have questions that if the child is on a medication, how the healings will affect him. I said, continue with the medication. Remember one thing, I am an energy healer. I'm not a doctor. It is the doctors who has to prescribe the medication. It is the doctors who decide what medication has to be given to the child. Continue with that part. But when the child's situation starts improving, slowly and gradually, in due course of time, you will be amazed, doctor will automatically will change the prescription. It is their prerogative, not mine. But you as a parent will definitely, when you will see an improvement happening in your kid's life, would ask the doctor to change whatever needs to be changed, or in case you want your kid to be off medication, it is purely your choice, not mine. One of the questions which people have also asked me, is it possible to heal the child only if mother doesn't want it? Absolutely. The answer is yes. Now, is it possible to heal the adult child? This is one of the questions also people ask. Let me tell you one thing. Healing works irrespective of who you are. I've done healing on animals. I've done healing on birds. I've done healings on humans. Healing works exactly the same way because everything is made of universal energy. So when you remove what is blocking them to heal, they heal automatically very fast. Uh, Guys, I have a few minutes now in case you have any questions regarding the seminar.